morning, noon, or night. My name is Jet, and welcome to my channel, JITV, Jet in the Valley. So this video, I'd really like to do one about, I started this channel with the intention of it being like a self-help kind of channel to help all different kinds of people, anybody that I could possibly reach. So I really want to start working on that again. So, the first few steps in self-help is you're going to need to get knowledge and seek knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. You need to know that those are things that you even need to seek for. So the next step would be taking an honest inventory of your life, of how much love you have and how much anti-love you have, how much good you have, how much evil you have. Okay, so you can take an inventory and see how much time you're spending, your time, thought, emotions, and actions are loving, which would be called good, and how much of your thought, your emotions, your actions, and everything are spent in the anti-love that goes against love. The we would call the evil or the bad. So you need to have an honest inventory of where you're spending your time, because I've covered that pretty extensively before. Is you can't be in two places at one time. So it's like I can't be in my car and outside of the car. I can't be thankful and greedy at the same time. So that's another reason to stay thankful and stay grateful and all these things, because the more time you spend in that, the less time you can spend in the greedy selfishness. The more time you spend helping others, the less time you could spend in the selfish aspects that creep in, because it's the nature of our mind and our body. Our mind and our body is selfish. We don't need to be ashamed or embarrassed or anything about simply the nature of our mind and our body. We just need to have an honest inventory of where we're spending our time. Because if you don't start from the truth, what's true, then you're starting on a totally false foundation. So some people I know, they try to get help, but they're not honestly trying to get help, because they don't want to they want to go get help so they can prove that they're right. So instead of aligning themselves, fixing their cognitive dissonance, and fixing the things that is within them and all about themselves that is anti-love, that's basically evil, they will go to try and get help, to try and get another person on their team to tell them that the things that they're doing are okay and that they're normal and that they're basically good. Okay, so it says trouble comes to those who call good bad and bad good. It's an inversion. Things are in inversion. Earth, and especially America, are a serious inversion land right now, calling things that are good bad and things that are bad good. So you take an honest inventory of how much you have of love or anti-love, of good or of evil, in your thoughts, your mind, your emotions, in all of your actions. The same kind of step right there with that is going to be a huge step, because most people won't tell you that this is the nature of reality. That I'm going to say it very quickly and very straightforward right now. Okay, the nature of reality is, the more anti-love you do, the more anti-love thoughts, feelings, actions, and emotions and fruits that you're going to receive. The more love-based living, the more loving thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions that you have are going to produce all the love-based gifts: joy, peace, contentment, kindness, self-control, peace, and patience. Okay? You cannot get good fruit from a bad tree, right? You can't get good fruit from a bad tree. So if all this time nobody just point blank told you that, because nobody will point blank tell you that, because a lot of people, it could seem offensive, or some people, they don't know. They just don't know that this is what it really boils down to. So you have to figure out and seek for knowledge, wisdom, and discernment about what is good and what is not good. Okay, you take it up. And I know on this channel I was trying to reach people who weren't just necessarily interested in Christ or whatnot. it makes it a lot easier and a lot more effective if you can understand anything about Christ, because it's the exact example of God's character and of our ideal character, and where every single human, everybody in a body who loves love, where they're going. We're all going toward the character and the being of Christ. We're being perfected. Christ was already perfected. He was the first of many brethren, and we're all in the fire right now, per se, getting our impurities burned out and burned off of us, so that when the time comes, we can already be perfected. So that did not sound any type of interesting to me just a couple years ago, and then I started to understand what all my problems were, of all the things that I was doing. Not all, but majority of all my thoughts, actions, and emotions that I was doing was anti-love, the force that goes against love. So you would say they're on the evil side of things. I was simply just doing everything that I saw everybody else doing in our culture and in the whole nature of Earth right now. I was doing everything that I just saw other people doing, not being like a copier, but that was what I was indoctrinated in, and I thought all of that was normal. So we all just act and do the things that we think are normal. So that's why the ages of 0 to 7 are so critical, because that is when your actual normal is created. Whether you have a good, healthy, love-based normal, or you have a very bad anti-love based normal, and that will cause your problems. Your whole life is what your normal is. People want to be normal because you feel safer and you feel more confident, and you feel safer when you're in your normal. But your normal may be very, very bad and very, very anti-love instead of love. So as many people who had been abused as a children, they grow up and they stay with people who abuse them, and that is their normal. And unfortunately, that normal is not synonymous with good and love-based. So you identify what's loving and what's good, and what's not loving and what's not good, and you can start to figure that out by starting to realize the fruits of each one. Meaning, when you think this way, when you think, oh, I'm looking pretty nice today, okay, does that produce the fruits of love, like joy, peace, contentment, kindness, self-control, all of those things, when you're confident about when you look in the mirror? Or when you look in the mirror, if you're like, I'm having an awful hair day or whatnot, what kind of fruits does thinking like that produce? Okay, it produces the anti-love, the enemy of love, when you entertain those thoughts like that. I'm not going to get into where thoughts come from. All I'm saying is we have the opportunity and we have the potential to take every thought captive. We have the potential to take every thought captive, meaning we can hold on to the thought and examine it through our spirit life force energy of love, through our spirit, to see, wait, is this good or is this bad? Is this loving or is this anti-love? We have the capacity to do that, and therefore you can have the capacity to sort these things out. Okay, we have a conscience in us. It was put there. It's no accident. You have to stop ignoring different things that are going on inside yourself in different aspects of things, and start training and accepting and understanding. Okay, it says, if God is love, when God speaks to you, when love speaks to you, it says, do not harden your heart. Okay, don't harden your heart when you hear from love, when you hear from God. People harden their heart because many times whatever the loving thing to do, the love-based living thing to do, is so opposite from what anybody else is doing, because we live in an inverted reality. Okay. And it's scary to step out and stand out like a sore thumb when you want to do the loving thing. And the loving thing meaning the one that brings the joy, peace, contentment, kindness, self-control, it's long suffering, you care about other people, the empathy, all of these things. When you want to do that, but nobody else really wants to, and they want to pick on you and beat you down for you being gentle and kind and loving. Okay. So many people, they will harden their hearts, close out God. Okay. Which is the absolute wrong thing to do. And if you're doing that, you have to identify that you're doing that. And you have to understand that if you understand love at all, or you ever did, like as a little kid, and now it's gone because you've hardened your heart or whatever, what happens is when you close your heart off, it makes you weak. Okay, love is the superpower. Love is what makes you strong. Love is what gives you all the qualities that I'm always talking about. The joy, peace, contentment, kindness, self-control, peace, patience, long-suffering. It makes you capable of handling anything. When you are super strong in love, you can handle everything. You can handle someone saying bad things to you because you can understand where someone might be coming from. You understand these things, okay? So the trick is never, ever, ever to close your heart off, but to open your heart back up and hook yourself back up to the superpower of the nature of reality. It says we are to get back on the vine, okay? We got cut off the vine. We're separated. We were separated from the Most High God. Now we're trying to get back on. And the way you get back on is by seeking the knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. And these are all good places to start if you don't know about Christ. But what it really comes down to is you get to the truth of the nature of reality, which is Christ and what he came here and he did. And when you understand that and you accept that, and you see how awesome he was and what all of these different things, it's the joy, peace, contentment, kindness, understanding, all of these things, then you can accept that. And when you do, you get put back on the vine of love. So it's like we were flowers in a vase. I used to use that one a lot. So the flowers are cut off from the ground and they're stuck into a vase and they look just like flowers. But they're dying. They're already dead. They're cut off. They're already dead. They're starting to wilt. And there's only so long that flowers in a vase can stay good for. Okay? In this example, the wilting is like what people call narcissism. Okay? So they start doing all these anti-love things, okay, when people are cut off from their power source, which is the Most High God. When you're cut off, you do all the anti-love stuff. That is symptomatic of being removed and disconnected from your power source. Now, if you could take those flowers out of the vase and stick them back in the ground and connect them back to their power source, they would start to grow and they would be healthy and they would stop wilting and they would make more of themselves and everything like that. That's the example of how humans, when you get back on the vine of love, you become, you have the creative force and you have real, actual life in you that's not about decaying and it's not about death and all of those things. You start to get an eternal, everlasting life in you. And so that was a long way of saying I'm pretty sure that for the self-help is you have to identify good from evil. Basically, it's really quite simple when someone just boils it down and tells you identify what's good from evil, okay, loving from anti-loving, and stop doing the anti-love stuff. When you stop doing the evil things, okay, which we many times we didn't know they were evil, that they were bad. We didn't have any idea. When you start to identify those things and you stop doing them, you're getting basically put back on the vine of love and hooked back up, and your heart will start to open, and you will have the fruits of the spirit of love, which is joy, peace, contentment, self-control, patience, all of these things that we all as loving individuals would say that we want. We say that we want that and with our words, but do you want it bad enough to do what I've just explained to do? Okay, you have to identify the good from bad, the love from anti-love, and stop doing the anti-love stuff, even if it's your most favorite thing in the world. You know, I smoked cigarettes for 24 years. I quit smoking. Like, it's not, I mean, I almost don't even really want to say I quit smoking, because once I acknowledged that it was a problem, like a real actual problem, God took that away. He took that away from me. The next day I woke up and I didn't want to smoke anymore. And I mean, the thought comes in every now and again. Like when it comes in every now and again, but literally since that day, I haven't smoked a cigarette since, and that was over 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. So you will start to get the fruit of love and joy, peace, contentment when you stop doing the anti-loving stuff. So, and I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just simply stating that a shrink isn't going to tell you this, because they're not going to make any money off of you. No one in the medical field is going to tell you this, because they can't make any money off of you. And when you start to, and they don't know it, this is spiritual truths, okay? They don't have spiritual truths. They don't have it. They don't know it. So take it and run with it. And if you understand it, then do it and share it with other people. This information, a tiny portion of people know exactly what I'm saying, and instead of sharing it with everybody using our 12-year school system that's already in place, that everybody spends money on and everything, instead of sharing what I have been trying to explain, they have occulted the information, they have hidden the information, and they have actually made fake information to try and spread, as opposed to the real information, just to keep people enslaved and in bondage to the Babylonian beast-like system. So this is my self-help, and I really hope it's not coming across as from a not loving place. It is from a loving place. It is from a loving place, because especially when you get to understand what I'm saying, people know what you know when you know the things that you know. And if you don't think that makes you a type of a target, then you're just not all the way there yet. So Christ said, if they hate you, just know they hated me first. The servant isn't greater than his master. So if he was persecuted, you expect to be persecuted. So, but you do it for the name of love and joy. You don't do it for like hate and envy and greed and selfishness, all of that. So that's for another one. So much love and many thanks, and I love you. Thank you.